I'm joined now by Lindsey Horvath, LA County Supervisor for the 3rd District. Supervisor, it's great to have you. I know it's been a very hectic last few days where you are. First of all, how is the situation on the ground tonight? Are things seeming any calmer than the past few days? And do you agree with the mayor's decision to enact a curfew?
Well, we just had an interfaith gathering out in Gloria Molina Grand Park, and it is clear that people want to see things calm down so people stay safe, but we're also protecting the safety of our community members. And I know that Mayor Bass's intention through this curfew is to make sure that we are trying to bring some calm to what has been an escalated situation by our federal government.
And you've been quite clear that you very much object to the National Guard and the Marines being deployed to L.A. But have you been made aware of any specific instances of escalation or complications that have been prompted specifically by those deployments so far?
There's been taunting from helicopters. There has been, as we've seen, National Guardsmen come out and Marines come out from the federal building. It escalates and incites people to protest even harder. I think the fact that they're being called in at all lets you know that this is not about safety. This is about power and domination. And at a time where people are suffering so much in Los Angeles County, we have seen the worst of the worst in 2025, to know now that we have to deal with this man-made crisis that puts our community members at risk. This is not what we should be seeing on our streets right now. Right now, we need help and support and partnership from our federal government. And instead, they're sowing chaos in our own backyard.
And you know very well that emotions have been running high. You know, the reason that many of these protesters gathered in the first place is to demonstrate against the Trump administration's recent immigration raids in your city. Just tell us a little bit about the impact that those roundups have been having on the LA community.
Well, they're intended to stoke fear, to silence people, to cause them to not even leave their home. And that's just disturbing. For an administration that claims to care about families, what they are doing is nothing short of devastating to our families. I've heard from my constituents who have said that before they leave the home, they show their children where their most important paperwork is in case they disappear and don't come home from work. We have kids who are afraid to go to school because they're afraid they'll come home and their parents won't be there for them. I mean, this is not what our families should be experiencing and how you want your children to grow up. We need to be investing in support for our communities, not tearing our communities apart and pitting people against each other.
Yeah, and these scenes in your city have been unfolding now for the better part of this past week. What exactly, Supervisor, needs to happen in order for all of this to end?
Well, what we need is for the federal government to stop escalating what is happening on the ground and instead participate in calming the chaos and helping us to restore the safety that our communities deserve. Our law enforcement officials have been working incredible hours. They have been on 20-hour overtime shifts just because of these recent events, but they were facing all kinds of challenges before that. We need to let our law enforcement officials do their job and not make the situation worse for them. This is exactly what we want to be happening in our communities, where our communities are stepping up and not the Marines, not the National Guardsmen. I mean, it's just absurd to think that our president would turn our own forces against us at this time.
And you've heard, of course, some of the language that President Trump has used to describe the actions of these protesters. I mean, you tell us, what have you seen on the ground in terms of the actions of the protesters? Yes, many have been peaceful, as you described right at the top, but obviously there have been some instances where there have been examples of violence and examples of unwanted behavior.
To tell you the truth, what I have seen has largely been peaceful. The escalation in terms of the energy that's present has happened when there's been an escalated visible presence of the National Guard and of the Marines, because we know that they aren't needed on the ground. What happens then in the evenings is there are people who are using the cover of these protests to cause harm to our communities, and we don't need that either. And so our mayor has enacted this curfew. We also know that our local law enforcement officials have stepped up their presence. Our sheriff is leading a mutual aid call to ensure that there is enough patrol on the ground, especially in our downtown Los Angeles area. But the more that this escalates by our federal government, the worse the situation is on the ground for everyone who's trying to keep people safe.
All right, Supervisor Horvath, we hope to stay in touch with you in the coming days. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Protests